All right, y'all. Just came from a town hall meeting with the Deputy Commissioner of Governance, Crabill-T.E.A, AJ Crabill, about a town hall meeting about HISD and the governance there on their school board. Let me first start off by saying thank you so much for hosting the event. Thank you. I can't thank you enough to the community that hosted it. To the district that hosted it, to the HISD school board member that actually asked to host it and asked Ms. Crabill to come up there and speak. We need more of that. So I'm gonna start off with the positives because there's way more positives than there are negatives, but there are some things that kind of hurt my heart. Number one positive thing is that notice that everything that was said there was no different than anything that I've ever said before. It was no different than anybody that's ever come to an A-Leaf ISD school board meeting and stood at that podium during a patron presentation and voiced their concerns. This situation about education, it has no color barrier. It has no economic barrier. We all want the same things. At the end of the day, we all want to be educated. I don't care if you're 84% socially disadvantaged, socially economically disadvantaged. I don't care if you're reading at a kindergarten level at 33 years old. Nobody ever sits down and says, I don't want to be educated. I don't want my children to be educated. We all want the same things. But it's astonishing to me how when certain people say it, things get done. When other people say it, it's a problem. That's my biggest issues. We all have the same concerns. Second thing is, I gave y'all a scan around the room to kind of see what was going on, what type of, who was in the crowd. And unfortunately, the demographics where these conversations are happening don't represent the community. It's great that people are passionate. It's great that people are involved. It's great that you're hosting events like that. But unfortunately, it still excludes a majority of the individuals that, one, need to be there, and two, can't be there. They hosted the event at 6 o'clock, right? It was off the bus line. I forget, 3747 Garnett. It's an affluent neighborhood. I mean, no bus lines was running there. The community didn't represent all of HISD, right? The ones that needed to hear it. I would have liked to have seen the event hosted in the area where more people had an opportunity to get there. If you work in 2 or 3 jobs, right? You getting off your second job to go to your third job. One, you can't catch the bus out there because there's no bus run out there. And two, you have no access. You have no access to be at a certain place at 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. to get that much needed information. We talked about taking a vote for getting boards in there. If we'd have taken that vote last night, it would have left a majority of the community disenfranchised. But again, thank you for even allowing the opportunity to happen for those who could be there. We got to start documenting more. We got to start FaceTiming more. We got to start allowing those who cannot make it to meetings like that to have access to that information. What I loved about Mr. Crabill is that not only did he make himself available, he told you, just like I told y'all the other day, he told you where to look to go get that information. He didn't give you the information. He told you where to go look. He gave you the TEA website, how to find it, what to look for. He opened the floor up. He began the seminar or the session with asking questions, right? Unlike what Superintendent Chambers does, is he puts on a performance where he sits there and he wants to talk out to the crowd the entire time. During the board meeting, he'd be happy to just sit there and tell you what he wants to tell you for 2 hours and let you leave empty. Crabill allowed you to talk to him. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you need. Every question that the community asked, he turned that question back on them. What is it that you want in a board member? What is it that you want in the community? What is it that you need? So that was a plus. Those are signs of good leadership. One, he took notes. He left himself available. He even said that he'd come to our community. That's one of the biggest things that I want to get off my chest too, is that we got to find a way to bring him to A-Leaf and let him talk to our community. We got a big old CTE center, right? Why can't we host an event where TEA can come in there and talk to our community? Since we in the board meetings, they always like to talk about the feds and what TEA does and electiles and all that. Okay, you got a problem with it? Open the floor up and let TEA come talk to the community. And I bet you don't have those same conversations. And if you do, he even said he don't want to talk to a bunch of people that's excited or happy to see him. He wants to talk to the disgruntled ones. So that would be a time, the perfect opportunity to allow Mr. Crabill to come to our community, talk to our board, talk to our superintendent, and most importantly, talk to our community. Because we cannot continue to have secondhand information the way it's been going on now. He said a lot of the things that I've already been saying. The community members that were there said a lot of the things that I've already been saying. It just baffles me how the messenger stands in the way of the message. Oh, we don't like Damon Barone because he's talking about my superintendent, so his message can't be true, or his message is not right. It is the truth. You don't like it, and I'm disgruntled for a reason. I'm not taking my time to come to the school board meetings for 4 hours and 5 hours because I don't have anything better to do. There's something wrong that is agitating me about our education system, about the failure of our community. And to be honest, many of the things, all of the things that they said that triggered TEA to take over HISD is going on right here in A-Leaf. Absolutely every single thing, every single point that the community members hit, every single point that the speaker, Mr. Crabill, hit is absolutely happening here in A-Leaf. The only difference is, all right, A-Leaf has done a good job of trying to give the illusion that none of that is happening here. They like to talk down on HISD, and HISD actually is a better rated district than A-Leaf, right? So remember that old proverb we talked about? Proverbs, feed a man a fish, eat for a day. Teach a man how to fish, he'll eat every day. Well, they got an old proverb that says when you point one finger at someone else, you got like four pointing back at you. In that board meetings, they always like to talk about HISD and how allegedly dysfunctional they are there. But guess what? Our board is way more dysfunctional than HISD's. Our district is way more dysfunctional than HISD's. We got a lot of great teachers out there. That's not getting the help that they need, right? And at the end of the day, the only people that's suffering is our community, more importantly, our children. The one of the big things that wasn't touched on that's meaningful to me is they talk about the children, but they never talk about the parents. The parents, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, are way more important than the teachers. And I'm willing to get tongue lashed for that, but I'm gonna tell you why. 5 years before my children ever walk foot in an A-Leaf ISD school, I'm their first line of instruction. I am their first educator. I'm their first structure giver or non-structure giver. That's important. I can't send my kids to you broken for 5 years and expect you to fix them or undo everything that I've taught them in the first 5 years. I'm the first line of defense, right? It's kind of like rugby. You got your blockers up front. Football, you got your blockers up front. Barry Sanders couldn't do it. He was a hell of a running back, right? But they never won a championship because the front line was horrible. I'm the first line of defense for the education. I'm the first line of defense for my children's success. And then I should hand them off to you, right? Kind of like relay race. I run the first leg, right? Then I pass it off to you, the teacher, the education, the district, to run the second leg, and so on and so on. We got to learn how to involve our parents in everything that we do. That's not happening. We're making decisions for people and going back and telling them, this is what we're doing for you and your kids. It doesn't work like that. It can't work like that. So we've got to figure out how to get more parents in rooms such as that event that took place today, that town hall meeting. How do I get my A-Leaf community over there to that clubhouse to sit in those meetings? How do I get Mr. Crabill in front of my A-Leaf parents and communities, my A-Leaf teachers, my A-Leaf administrators, my A-Leaf school board members, my A-Leaf superintendent? How do I get them front row seats to sit there and be quiet and listen to first-hand information, not second-hand information, to get your questions at? Don't let me be the mouthpiece of A-Leaf, right? Let me be a constituent of the community. You should all have an opportunity to ask the same questions that I have, right? It's not about Damon Barone. It's not about me leading the way. We should be walking hand in hand in this thing called education. Teachers lined up next to parents. Parents lined up next to senior citizens, right? Business owners lined up next to teachers. It's a horizontal line with nobody leading the way. More importantly, we got to figure out how to get our students more engaged in what's going on. Because guess what? 4 years from now, I'm not even going to go 4 years from now. Right now, my son turns 18. He's 18 years old, right? He has the ability to go out and vote at this next election and shape our community, to shape our society. That's scary if he doesn't know what he's doing. So we got to start including the kids in the process and growing them and developing them, so when they turn 18 that they can start making decisions for their community, for their livelihood. Who do they want their president to be? Who do they want their school board members to be? Instead of trying to hand stuff off to them broken. We've been running this ship for 20 years. Now my son's 30 years old and I'm just now figuring out to tell him to vote and get involved in the community and how it affects him, and how my grandkids are going to be going to school in a broken system. That's too late to start the fight. That's too late to start the fight. So yeah, I'm passionate. Yeah, I appreciate being in the room of those conversations that's going on. But even HISD was not represented well in that meeting. We got to figure out how do we start hosting and doing things, whether it be joint ventures, whether it be multiple ventures. We got to figure out how to get more people involved, how to get the information to them, start live streaming, sending questions ahead of time, sharing information. You know, we share everything else. You know, your birthday come up, you talk about your birthday on Facebook for a whole month. Oh, next month, my birthday, I'm finna go party all weekend. Oh, it's my birthday weekend. Oh, it's my birthday week. Oh, it's a week after my birthday. But then things like this that's affecting our education, that's affecting our money, that's affecting our community, we don't even share. We don't even talk about it. It's just a little blip in the conversation. We got to stop doing that. We got to stop doing that and perpetuate our mental wealth, right? While our social wealth. We got to start doing that as a community and not as an individual. Again, I'm not bashing nobody. I'm not saying that I do everything right. I'm not saying that I got it all together. What I am saying is the way we doing things, and I say the way we doing things right now is not working. And we have to start doing, you know, we got a whole bunch of issues of things that deserve to be addressed. We got, you know, undocumented immigrants. We got that deserve to get education and things like that. That can't go to school worried about if your family member's gonna get snatched up or if you're gonna get snatched up. It's a whole bunch of things, moving pieces, moving parts that go into education. Nobody that I know, no community that I know has the ability to just wake up, go to school, get an education, and come home, and that's all they got to do. That doesn't happen. It doesn't exist. Whether it be they're worried about their lights getting turned off, whether they're worried about if they had enough food to eat last night, whether they're worried about is ice coming in to take them away or their family, whether they're worried about do we have to move in 2 weeks, whether they're worried about you know, all kind of problems. The drug dealer next door, is our house gonna get shot up? Our house is nobody simply has the privilege, even in the affluent neighborhoods, have the privilege of just waking up, just only worrying about going to school, learning, and coming home. It just doesn't work like that. So we have to figure out how to address all those different facets that affect our ability to learn. I mean, even as an adult, when I'm in class or whenever you're at work, if the air is too high, right, in the room, you can't concentrate because you're freezing, you're shivering all day. If it's too hot, you can't think. So imagine the stress that those type of situations put on a child who hasn't had the life experience to even know, push through it. Don't worry about the air, just get this educated. They don't have the ability to do that. So we as a team, as a unit, as a community, not HISD alone, not Spring ISD, not A-Leaf ISD alone, not Fort Bend ISD alone, not Klein ISD alone, not Pearland ISD alone. We as a unit have to start coming together. And even if it takes the three community members that show up at this community's board meeting, getting together with this other community members, only 3 members that show up at board meeting, getting together, and we start affecting change like that. If that's what we got to do, that's what we got to do. But we all have to start being in the same room together. We all have to be around the same conversation. We all have to be able to hear and respond and listen to one another. And quite honestly, again, we're really having all the same conversation. We're just having them at different times. So it was an eye-opening experience for me to see firsthand. I already knew that we had similar stories, but it was an eye-opening experience for me to hear with my own ears that the things that I complained about in A-Leaf is happening in everybody else's community. So the real question is, how do we fix it? We all know what the problem is. We all know who the problems are, right? How do we fix it? What are we going to do? Because the individuals that's holding our communities hostage, they know that we aren't organized. They know that we're short-winded. They know that our stamina isn't long, and they're using that against us. They know that we know what the problem is, but quite honestly, they know that we can't do ish about it, right? Can't do ish about it. And I'm using my abstaining from profanity. But at the end of the day, I'm so serious and passionate that we as a community have to come together and start figuring out how we can do more on our own. We got to take our community back, right? When I post A-Leaf proud, I'm not talking about I'm A-Leaf ISD proud. I'm talking about A-Leaf the community proud, right? A-Leaf community is greater than A-Leaf ISD, right? Our school board, our superintendent, and the administrators would like you, the people, to believe that A-Leaf ISD is greater than A-Leaf ISD community, but that is far from the truth, right? The community and the school district belongs to us, and it's time that we start acting like that. It's time that we start invoking our powers. It's time that we start invoking our voices. It's time that we start invoking our votes. It's time that we start holding ourselves accountable for the education system, right? It's time that we start saying what we want inside of our schools. We don't want any more unlicensed teachers in our classrooms. If you don't want to get your certification, get out, right? I can't go to Chevron and get hired on a waiver, right? And tell them I don't have the qualifications to work here, but you give me a waiver and let me work here and make the same pay as everybody else that went to school for it, right? But as long as I stay here, I'm good. As long as I stay at Chevron, I can work in oil and gas. But the moment I go to Exxon, they got to get a waiver for me. That don't make sense in the real world. Why does it make sense in education? I'm gonna bring this thing home because I said that I was gonna make a video about it. The last school board meeting or the last workshop, they approved a waiver which allowed the district to hire non-certified teachers in the CTE Career Center, right? Which is a job that most teachers would want to have. First of all, they only serving 100 kids over in the CTE Center. So you hiring non-certified educators to teach our kids. So they getting the same pay as a paid teacher. They getting the same pay as a teacher that has financial student loan issues. They getting the same pay as individuals that said that this is their calling, that they always want to be an educator, that you letting some Joe Schmo off the street come here and educate our kids. That's not right. And you should have a problem with that as an existing educator with a certification that the district willfully, 2 weeks before school is about to start, signed a waiver to allow unlicensed teachers to come into our district and earn the same pay that you get. And the only requirements that they got to have is 20 hours of professional development. 20 hours. I just did 4 hours of professional development sitting in front of AJ Crabill talking about governance. That's unacceptable. So you got what? You got 4 educators on Alief ISD school board, and that's the type of stuff that y'all sign off on. Darlene Bro, former Alief ISD educator. Jennifer Key, former Alief ISD educator. Ann Williams, current educator in Spring ISD, which brings me to another point. She teaches in the CTE Center at Spring. So is she on a waiver? Is she a non-registered educator? Because I can't find her certification anywhere, right? So that makes sense now why you would vote yes to allow in our district to hire non-certified teachers, because you a non-certified teacher out there in Spring, and Henry David Chambers probably the one that pulled the string to have the district hire you. What kind of shim-sham is that, right? What kind of shim-sham is that? You got 12-year board members sitting on the board voting there, destructing our education system. They just said in the equity plan that Darrell Alexander, Director of Human Resources, said in the Alief ISD equity plan submitted to TEA that the implementation of policies, procedures, and hiring and staffing of educators in low minority schools is the reason why those schools was in improvement required. And here y'all go turn around and approve a waiver to compound the problem by hiring, again, non-certified teachers in our community. And then if you read the policies regarding the waiver, it states that they're able to teach in Alief as long as they want. They never have to go get a renewal for the waiver, right? So they can start this school year and end up teaching for 20 years and never have to get a certification as long as they stay in Alief. They can teach for 40. They're getting the same TRS as everybody else. They're getting the same teacher retirement. And guess what? What the policies and procedures don't say is that it doesn't prevent them from getting promoted. So let's say I hire somebody as a under the waiver as a teacher. Nothing's stopping them from giving them $50,000 or $55,000 a year to all of a sudden moving them to the admin building and giving them $90,000 a year based off their work experience as an educator that they didn't even qualify for. You gotta wake up and pay attention. That's how they're tearing up our communities. That's how they're destructing our education system. They're doing it with the financial hustle. They're doing it with the waivers. They're doing it with the vote. They're not in the classroom tearing it up. They're tearing it up from the top, from the administrative level. And it's all going on up under your nose, right? Again, nobody would know this but the individual that's sitting in the room. We had one community member, one parent, one educator sitting in the room while all that shim-sham was going on. And his name was Damon Barone, right? We got to do better, because guess what? Now, come day one of school, you're going to have a whole bunch of uncertified teachers teaching your children, teaching our children. And guess what? They did it by raising a hand. The vote did it. Destructed our education system. And they don't ever, ever, ever have to go back and get a teaching certification. Whereas you, me, I went and got my teaching certification. I'm a certified teacher. I worked hard for my certification. I worked hard to pass those tests. I worked hard to get my license. So why in the world does the next person get to come in on a smile, on a blessing from the superintendent, to get the same pay that I get for working my tail off? Right? Matter of fact, they got a raise to do it because I got student loans that I got to pay back. They don't have any student loans associated with becoming a teacher or an educator or being passionate about serving our community. We got to wake up. We got to wake up. See, death of a community doesn't always come with a gun. Sometimes it comes with the use of a pen, with the use of a vote, right? With the silencing of a voice, with the turning a blind eye of crooked policy or procedure. That is oftentimes how our community dies. It's not from gunplay. It's not from violence, right? It's by the signing of a contract, right? It's by raising your hand on a vote that you on a vote that you know you shouldn't have taken, from abstaining from something that you know that you should have been more active on. That's how our community is dying. And those are the type of things that happen when we're not involved, right? So the damage is done. Whether you like it or not, all the educators in A-Leaf ISD, whether you like it or not, come day one of school, you're going to have somebody sitting next to you, or maybe you're in a better position, working at the CTE Center, teaching technology, right, that doesn't have a certification at all. I would have loved to have taught in the CTE Center. I know a whole bunch of teachers that would love to teach in the CTE Center, but they weren't given the opportunity because A-Leaf allowed strangers, and when I say strangers, I mean strangers, that non-certified teachers, non-educators, to come into an education field, right, and reap the benefits of not caring about our community. So guess what? Guess what's going to happen now? Now when those non-certified teachers get in those positions, guess what they owe their soul to the devil. Now they owe AC Chambers a favor, right? Because he provided something to them that they couldn't get on their own. So now I'm indebted to you, right? So that's how the cycle continues, right? So when he asked them to lie about a situation that happened on campus with a child, with another teacher, with another staff member, with another parent, what you think they're going to do? They're going to lie for him. Why? Because he gave them a job that they didn't qualify for. He provided something to them that they could not do for themselves, right? It's a cycle of hustle. Just like I said the other day, we got to wake up. We got to start being more involved. Not just my community, not just your community, but in education itself. We got to start empowering each other. So I said a lot. Thank you, Mr. Crabill. I'm going to work on trying to establish a venue and an event for you to come and talk to our A-Leaf community. I'm going to try to seek more opportunities to see where you're speaking at, where you're hosting events at, because the worst thing that could happen is I can become more enlightened. I can gain more knowledge. That's the worst thing that can happen. So thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for HISD for hosting the event. Thank you for the school board trustee that hosted the event. Thank you for your transparency. Thank you for your passion. Thank you for your hustle. Thank you for your work. Thank you for your transparency. Thank you for teaching our children. Thank you for fighting for our community. Thank you. I couldn't say thank you enough. Just thank you. But we gotta figure out how we're gonna bring this together and educate our community, because this stuff that's going on in the school board meetings is killing us, right? It's administrative level, it's governance that's killing us. It's not the teachers in the classroom that's busting their butts, right? It's not the parents that's working 2 and 3 jobs, right, just to keep the lights on, that's hurting our community. It's not the fact that we're socially, economically disadvantaged. It's not the fact that our kids are reading on a 3rd grade level across the district. It's the fact that our administrators in 4250 Cook, it's the fact that our board members at 4250 Cook are taking advantage of us. That's the true problem. And once that stops, everything else will turn around. Our community will have an opportunity to get more involved. Our scores will go up, right? Our engagement will go back up. Our district as a whole will go back up. But until the superintendent and the school board stops focusing on their personal and professional privileges, we don't have a fighting chance. We don't stand a fighting chance at all. So I implore you to get more involved. Trust but verify. Read the policies and procedures. Go to the TEA website. Learn how to run the data reports yourself, and just stop allowing individuals to spoon feed you what they want you to know. So, Mr. Crabill, I'm asking you to come to A-Leaf. I'm begging you to come to A-Leaf. A-Leaf Super Neighborhoods, try to set something up. Ask the school board members, the school district, to allow us to use the CTE Center to host something. If they're serious about student outcome, allow HD Chambers, A-Leaf ISD School Board, allow the community to use the CTE Center to host a town hall event for TEA to come and talk to our communities, and you talk to them as well. If y'all serious about it, make that happen then. I'll wait. Damon Barone, A-Leaf HISD taxpayer, A-Leaf HISD parent, A-Leaf HISD alumni. You can scratch all that off and say Houston, Texas parent, Houston, Texas taxpayer, Houston, Texas alumni. We got to do this together. Thank y'all.